thorn twist in your side. I'll wait for you. Sleight of hand and twist of fate. On a bed of nails she makes me wait. And I wait without you. With or without you. With or without you.
Dave was born in Regina, Saskatchewan on September 16th, 1958. This makes it his birthday today, so first, Dad, I want to say happy birthday. Dave lived in Regina only for a year before his family moved to Peterborough, Ontario. They were there for 4 years, then moved to Kitchener before finally settling in Hespeler. This is where he started to become a young man. After Dave enlisted with the Royal Canadian Air Force, where he spent the next 9 years of his career, it was at this time he met my mom. And after careful consideration, he proposed and they got married in 1985. He then left the Air Force to attend Dalhousie University in Halifax, graduating with a master's degree in business administration. By now, it was time to move closer to family, so he and my mom packed their bags and drove across Canada, settling in Abbotsford, BC, where all of us kids were born. This is where Dave started his career in banking, starting with the Toronto Dominion Bank in Surrey, which would then lead to a transfer to Calgary. After 2 years in Calgary, he found a new job with the Canadian Western Bank. This is where he worked for the next 18 years, climbing the ranks to become Senior Vice President of Risk Management, all while raising a family of 1 beautiful daughter and 2 strong sons. Dad, you forever hold a spot inside our hearts. You're the best hero we could have ever looked up to. You taught us everything we ever asked for, from riding a bike, playing sports, working hard, and showing me what it takes to be a great man. The most important lesson you taught us was to never give up and always have a smile on your face, just as you did with your hard-fought battle with cancer. We appreciate everything you did as a father. There won't be a day where we don't think of you. Rest easy, Captain.
We've only just begun to live. White lace and promises, a kiss for luck and we're on our way.
We've only begun.
Before the rising sun we fly. So many roads to choose. We start out walking and learn to run.
And yet we've just begun.
Sharing horizons that are new to us, watching the signs along the way, talking it over, just the two of us, working together day to day, together. And when the evening comes, we smile. So much of life ahead. We'll find a place where there's room to.
Dear Dad, I felt like I wanted to write a letter to you because I need to say a final goodbye. Dad, you will forever be a light in my life. Your sense of humor makes me laugh. Your wise words and advice helps me to put things into perspective and to be true to who I am. Your unconditional love and support mean the world to me. I always wanted to make you proud. I want to be just like you, but still be a strong, independent woman. My favorite memories with you will forever be cherished and will be always in my heart. Memories like when I was 2 years old, we were in Abbotsford, and I was in the little kids' swing. Somehow, I was able to convince you to put me in the big kids' swing. I wanted to fly like a bird while I was on the swing, so I asked if I could have an underduck. I remember you telling me to hold on tight and to never let go. I remember saying to you that I wouldn't and promised that. Remember, this is coming from a 2-year-old. Once you gave me the biggest push on the swing, I did let go and went flying in the air like a little bird. Another favorite memory is when you took me to my first hockey game when we were living in Calgary. I was very shy as a kid, and seeing my favorite hockey player, Mr. Jerome McGinley, play on the ice was a dream come true. You wanted to take me to the game, so I was feeling so excited to go that since the drive down to the game, watching the game, and on the drive home, I would talk and 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 never shut up. I'll even remember the small moments with you, from giving you a hug every morning before you drove yourself to work. I'll remember all of the daddy-daughter dinners and lunch dates, like he took me to the Sabre restaurant downtown. I will never forget the trip we took to Vancouver in 2016 in July around my birthday because of some treatment. I had a lovely dinner with you and Auntie Joy and Uncle Ken. I will always remember the dances that we did even when I was little, where I would dance on your feet and twirl around in circles, and when we went to my high school dance when I was graduating. I remember you reading a book called The Butterfly Kiss, and I remember you and me sharing those kisses as a kid before you tucked me in to say my prayers and to go to sleep. You guided me and helped to shape me into the woman that I am today. You will forever be the greatest supporter in everything that I do. I am so fortunate to look like a spitting image like you and be a daddy's girl. You are not just my father, but my best friend and my hero. They say that a daughter's first love is her father, and I am the luckiest girl in the world to have you as my first love. I am really going to miss you, Dad. You will forever be with me. Love, your daughter, Danielle.
So this poetry verse, it's actually a song by a band called Death Cab for Cutie. This song helped me when I was watching my dad go through hospice, and I wanted to share it with you. And it came to me then that every plan is a tiny prayer to Father Time. As I stared at my shoes in the ICU that reeked of piss and 409. And I rationed my breath as I said to myself that I'd already taken too much today. As each descending peak on the LCD took you a little farther away from me. Amongst the vending machines and year-old magazines, in a place where we only say goodbye. It stung like a violent wind that our memory depends on a faulty camera in our minds. I knew that you were a truth I would rather lose than to have never lain beside at all. And I looked around at all the eyes on the ground as the TV entertained itself. 'Cause there's no comfort in the waiting room, just nervous pacers bracing for bad news. Then the nurse comes round and everyone lifts their head. But I'm thinking of what Sarah said. Love is watching someone die. Thank you.
myself, why should I work so hard? Sit and dream about the days to come. Half undressed, just soaking up the sun. Sitting here, I hope I don't get fried. 2 years ago, you know, I almost died. And yet there's nothing better for your soul than lying in the sun and listen to rock and roll. Sunny days, oh, sunny, sunny, sunny days. Ain't nothing better in the world, you know, than lying in the sun with your radio. Sunny days, oh, sunny, sunny, sunny days. Ain't nothing better in the world, you know, than lying in the sun with your radio. I really think there's nothing quite so fine as letting the sun rejuvenate your mind. Don't get me wrong, I really dig the moon, but it was 4 in the afternoon when I wrote this tune. And now the sun's about to fade away. I'm feeling better than I felt for days. You know there's nothing better for your soul than lying in the sun and listen to rock and roll. Sunny days, oh, sunny, sunny, sunny days. Ain't nothing better in the world, you know, than lying in the sun with your radio. Sunny days, oh, sunny, sunny, sunny days. Ain't nothing better in the world, you know.
Captain Dave was my second father. There were many nights growing up that I would drink with them, have dinner, go to family events, and sleep on a couch the next day.
One of my favorite things about Dave was the joy that he could express in his voice every time you would come over or he would come over to your house, and just how he would welcome you. And it was always the hello Tara or hello whoever it was, and just the way every time he said your name, you know, he had joy there and he was happy to see you.
I would join them for their family Christmas, and I would go on the ski trip. It would be Mike, myself, Captain Dave, Sean, and we would just go and we would chase snow. And we would see where the mountains took us, and we would just end up having a blast every night.
He was just always a constant in the big family events and stuff, so that was really nice. And whenever I think of him, I think of, you know, family get-togethers and a lot of fun.
I would always be watching Jacob playing hockey, and I'd get there and Papa Dave would be like, well, let's go get dinner. I'm like, oh, okay. And every time we'd always find the closest Boston Pizza, and we'd just be having dinner at Boston Pizza, go watch hockey, and be like, okay, I'll see you next week.
And I'll never forget the one Thanksgiving where I sat at the end of the table right next to Dave, and he started telling me stories. He told me about his time in the military, and he taught me how to be the best man I could be.
It wasn't until today that I realized how often Papa Dave always said, oh, I'm awesome. That's awesome. And it just like warms my heart whenever I think of him saying that.
My memories of Dave are always of joy and his love of his family. Dave always showed up for everything, and I always appreciated the efforts he made to come to my house. And every dinner started with Dave saying grace.
My fondest memory of Uncle Dave is every time we'd eat together, may it be lunch, dinner, breakfast. If I had a big spoonful, he would dare me to see if I could fit it all in my mouth. And he was quite a jokester.
We went on a ski trip. It was me, Michael, Colton, and a 4 or 5 day ski trip. And near the end, me and Colton were feeling bad that Captain Dave had paid for all our meals, all our hotels. So we tried to buy dinner one night. We ended up doing credit card roulette. So me, Colton, Michael, all threw a card in. Captain Dave threw his card in, plus another one, plus his driver's license, healthcare card, everything that he could. And somehow his healthcare card got pulled and he ended up having to pay for it. And me and Colton were just like, oh my God, like the one time we just wanted to do something nice.
Jacob and my son Adam were drafted to the same hockey team, and Dave showed up late in his suit. He came from the bank, and of course he said, "Hey, I'm the best looking guy here." But I remember Dave telling me a story about how he went to an Oilers game and he brought his old red truck, and when he came out, it was gone. Then he didn't know what happened to it. It turned out somebody stole his red truck and robbed a bank, and I thought that was hilarious because Dave was a banker. One more story too. In the wintertime, we'd go over to Dave and Joanne's, and Dave would make a rink. The next door neighbor and him would tear down their fence, and they'd make a rink, and his monthly water bill would be $400 or $500, and he didn't care. The kids were having a blast. Those are awesome memories of Dave. Thank you, Dave. To Dave.